Welcome back to the Football Tragics. I'm your host, Aaron, joined here by Tony, Morty, and Campo. Well, it's a few interesting games that week, lads. Campo obviously not going to be too happy. Tony ecstatic. Morty happy, just like myself. But we'll get into it. We'll start straight up with the Newcastle Leeds game. First game of the round, 5 a.m. kickoff Saturday morning for us. That's a struggle. 1-1 draw. Thoughts on the game, Campo?
Leeds started bright, and then just typical Leeds fashion this year, they just keep falling off. Newcastle grew into the game, and a lovely goal from ASM. He's always going to cause that defence problems, and Newcastle probably finished stronger, but I think 1-1 was a fair result.
I went with the 1-1, so I'm pleased I got that right. I just don't think Leeds. I don't know, they're in a bit of a pickle now. They're almost doing the Sheffield United of last season, where second season syndrome. Yeah. So look, I think they'll probably come good a bit, but I don't know. They can't afford to keep dropping points. It's getting beyond a joke now. Like it's 5 games in, and have they got 1 win or 0 wins? Let's just quickly double check that.
1 win, I'm pretty sure.
Where are we? No wins, 3 draws, 2 losses after 5 games. Look, the 3 draw stands out there, but they've had a few easy games that they should be picking up points. Newcastle, same thing. They can't afford to keep dropping points, especially at home. I think ASM, St. Maxim, he won't stay at Newcastle past this year. There's absolutely no way. Someone will come in for him, a big club, absolutely. I can't see. 50 million I reckon I can easily get for him. He's a talent. Tony, what were your thoughts on the game?
I think it's an interesting one. I think more concern for Newcastle coming out of this game. You're playing at home. You're playing in front of your home fans. I think they only had about 30-something% possession. They've allowed 22 shots against them. Yes, they weren't all on target, but to play in front of your own team and get dominated like that by, like we said, Leeds that haven't been where they were last year, that's quite bad. That's quite poor from Newcastle. And it took an absolute brilliance from St. Maxim to actually get them a point from this game.
Absolutely. Morty, do you agree?
Yeah, pretty much with Tony. I mean, Leeds started off hot. They probably more deserving of maybe 2 goals. I think, they had a few shots in the box. They're looking like they'll score, and they just couldn't put it away. They couldn't finish off. I think the only issue with Leeds, like as we said last week, they had 1 defender with a red card, 1 defender injured. I think they're on their 4th string centre-back pairing. So, yeah, I'm still more concerned for Newcastle here. Like, they didn't have much of the ball. It took a one-man brilliance to score. They didn't look like producing anything other than through him. So,
I mean, even with the Leeds goal, though, Aaron, before you go on, even with the Leeds goal, it was a cross in that.
Yeah,
like
it should have been headed in.
Like, you should have tapped that in. He had a lot of guts to let that go through his legs, thinking that was going in because it was a cross. And it was a lucky goal from both sides.
I think with Leeds, we're more inclined to give him a bit more time. We look and think 5 games played, all right, let's see how they are after 10 games, even 15 games. But with Newcastle, it's already like it's doom and gloom. They should have already clicked.
We've seen the heights of Leeds. We haven't seen anywhere close to that from Newcastle.
Yeah, but in saying that, those heights of Leeds did involve a lot of lows because you know how insecure they are defensively. They're not there. So they do need to get that right, and I think they do need to start playing like Brentford, who we're going to speak about right now. 2-0 win away at Wolves, probably the upset of the round. I don't think any of us tipped this. I think we all kind of went straight. Wolves should comfortably do it, even though Wolves haven't been great themselves. But yeah, Brentford 2-0. Ivan Toney penalty. And then Mbueno, his strike partner, on the score sheet. They held on after getting a red card, 65th minute. So massive away win. And it just, again, it's keeping clean sheets. It's not amazing, but they get the job done. Tony, how did you see this game?
I mean, Brentford has started to become that team that everyone roots for if they're not playing against their own team. They've come up from the championship. Like we said, they're not playing the most amazing football, the most stylish football, but they have those glimpses, and we saw that with Tony this week. He obviously got the goal from the penalty spot. I think I read somewhere he's 12 from 12 from Brentford taking penalties. And then it was him that put in a bit of those dazzling moves to get that ball into the box for the second goal. So although they're not playing the nicest football, I think they're well above expectations to where I think we had them. 5-6 games into a season.
Yeah, I thought with like the way they're playing it, similar to Sheffield United last season, or the year before, sorry, I didn't think that they could recreate that. That's why I straight away thought they're going straight back down. But yeah, I'll hold my hand up. They've impressed me. I've got that wrong. I think they probably could stay up now. If anything, they look like they could comfortably finish in 15th, even higher possibly. I think everybody who had high hopes of Ivan Toney before the season, 3 games in, they weren't too pleased with him. But then he started to bag a few now, and that just might be enough. He could score 15 goals this year. Campo, what do you think? How do you think Brentford are going to play out?
I actually think they're playing with confidence. I think they might, get that 12th, 11th, 10th, might push mid-table this year, but it's still early days. Just a quick shout out to Marcel for absolute comical defending on a corner. He's not playing rugby, he's playing football. Stop worrying about what your man's going to do and watch the ball. You can't defend like that. And rightfully so, it's a penalty.
Yeah, Morty, what were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, and the worst part was Brentford almost had 3. They literally turned it on for 5 minutes that game, and they scored one off the penalty. They scored another, it's taken off them, mind you, like after a almost onside, which, yeah, and then they scored another one. Like they're not putting a foot wrong, and they're playing like they're playing within their means. Like they don't look like they're pulling these out of thin air. They're consistently putting up something every game. They might not be winning every game, but they look like they can be grabbing points when needed.
Wolves, on the other hand, in for a long season, do you think, or do you think they'll click?
Yeah, don't know. They're looking like they're not going to click. Like it's been time now. They've given time to Jimenez. Yeah.
Well, he had a golden header that he put wide. Keeper rushed him, and he got up there. He committed to it. He didn't show any shyness towards the ball, but yeah, he should be scoring that. And if your striker's not putting those chances away, you can't expect to win games, especially if you're not producing elsewhere.
It's just his general play.
If you look at the overall game, I don't know if you guys watched the full game, if you caught glimpses of it. Millimetres away from Wolves winning this game 4-5-2. Once obviously that red card came in, they probably had about 6-7 chances. You look at the stats, they had 0 shots on target, but it doesn't tell the whole story. Brentford up until the 60th, unbelievable. 60th to 90th, Wolves probably could have won that game. But
then, do you also then give more credit to Brentford because they dug deep with 10 men?
You give credit to them, but like you said, their striker shouldn't have missed that shot. Let's be honest. He should have been putting that in. There was 2 shots, I think it was from about 7-8 metres out, where last year, the year before, they bury him. This year, they missed him, and they're still waiting for that win to kind of cement them, put them up that ladder.
I think Adama Traore needs to show what he showed glimpses, obviously. He always impresses with his runs, but he needs his end product to really hit the highest that everybody's expecting if Wolves want to do anything this season. A winger who is not shy from performances this season, Ismaila Sarr, 3-1 Watford over fellow relegation scrabblers Norwich. Thoughts on the games, Tony? Watford looking good, Norwich the opposite?
Straight back down for Norwich, let's be honest. They haven't shown any reason for us not to believe that. They went down 1-0. Pukki got them back through, I think it was the midfielder lost the ball for Watford. They countered. Pukki finished it. Good finish. Great for him, but they don't look like a Premier League club, do they? They made Watford look a lot better than what Watford's been this year, and if they keep doing that, we've said it last time, they might go close to matching this record for the lowest points in the season.
Yeah, well, we said it last season with Sheffield. They ended up getting just enough towards the end, couple decent results. But yeah, Norwich, I genuinely don't know who they'll beat. I even look at Burnley, Newcastle, who are just above them on the ladder. I don't know if they'll even beat them. I think Newcastle show they can score goals. They do create chances. I think ASM would punish them comfortably. I think even Burnley, like Norwich, wouldn't be able to deal with that. So I don't know who they'll beat. Campo, do you agree? Or do you think they'll find something?
They had such a hard run. This is the time where they're meant to build that momentum. Against these teams, they should be doing better. But they're just Violet Crumble. They're just garbage. just garbage.
Morty, do you agree with that?
I don't think I can follow that up, but yeah, everything Cambo said.
But let's be honest, Aaron. You just said about their upcoming games. They've got Liverpool in the cup. Liverpool could throw up a bunch of kids, and they're probably still going to smash them. Let's be honest. Then they go away to Everton. Everton will beat them. Burnley, can't see them breaking down that block. Brighton on fire. Chelsea. Where are those points coming from in the next 6 weeks?
Yeah, and then you've gone 10 games in, and you've got 0 points possibly.
Exactly.
And we're almost at Christmas.
Yeah, and so they're down by that point. Arsenal 1-0 win over Burnley. Was that 2 in a row now for them? Jeez, who would have thought? I think I said
the third one next week against Spurs.
We'll get into that. But I think I said the 1-0 this week because I gave them the 3-0 last week and they couldn't score. And it's the same thing. They couldn't score a lot of goals, but they got that one. Came from a great free kick, Odegaard. But again, they create chances and can't finish. Pepe's looking average. Tony, thoughts on the game? Good win, or are they just taking one step at a time, or what do you think?
Oh, I mean, the way Arsenal started the season, I think any 3 points you can put on the board are a good win. You don't have to win pretty. I think a lot of our teams have seen that over the last couple of years, and I think for Arsenal, it's another building step. And you know what? They're going into the next game against Tottenham with the motivation now, with the belief that they can get a goal and defend for 90 minutes. So,
they're only 3 points behind Spurs now. So you look at Spurs start, 3 wins out of 3. If they go and lose to Arsenal next week, they're stuck on the same points. So then who do you look at? Who's had a poor season? Who's had a decent start to the season? How do you look at that? Campo, thoughts on this game? And
if that game was played last year, that penalty stays a penalty. I think they're being more strict on penalties on players going down too easy. As you see, this weekend there were a lot of revoked penalties, or there was 2, which could have been penalties last year. I think they both were last year. Again, I don't see where Arsenal are going to create against a better team than 2 relegation battles. It's been shown for the first 3 games that they struggle to break decent teams down.
Morty,
you need those words.
Give me a less biased opinion, please, Morty.
Look, any 3 points is going to be good points for Arsenal. I think they're just happy to get through these 2 games. I mean, we all know Burnley on their day is not a straightforward win. Yes, they're not going to throw a Man City attacking at you, but they're going to play rough. They're going to play tough. And they're just going to do whatever they want, bully the hell out of it. But Arsenal did well to hang on. Defensively, they looked a bit more solid. I mean, Ben White, it's 2 clean sheets in a row now. They're kind of clicking, but yeah, partially on what Campo says, we'll have to wait and see how they go up against some of the bigger dogs in the league. But 2 wins from 2, all up next week with Spurs and Arsenal. Hope you eat words, but
well, look, they've played the same back 4 and keeper for 2 games in a row now, and they've got 2 clean sheets, 2 wins. So if they can stay fit, they can start to form some sort of gel at the back there. That's obviously important. Moving forward, City couldn't break down Southampton. Crazy game. They couldn't even fill out their stadium midweek, so they went and offered free tickets. Apparently, if you were in Manchester, went to Manchester Square, you could go pick yourself up a free ticket for this game, and then City go and produce that for their loyal fans. Tony, what were your thoughts on the game?
I loved it. I don't think there's anything left to say. Obviously, they put Torres on the bench, so there was a bit of rotation there. Who knows whether that in the long run helps them with more competition games coming up. Obviously, we had the Champions League, the game. We've got the Cup coming up this week. Who knows if that's what Pep wants to do, because we know City love one of those Mickey Mouse's Cups every year. But, I mean, I think you've got to give full credit to Southampton here. We sat here at the start of the year and we said they got rid of this player, that player, and they didn't sign. And they've now taken a point away from both Manchester clubs. I think if you said that at the start of the year, I think even someone like the guy below me, Morty, would have said, nah, City will kill him. And I think he said that last week. United should take the points from him. We all said it, but, I mean, they're holding their own and they're doing enough to impress me at the moment.
Yeah, well, just like you say there, we did all say that they'll kill him. Our Southampton mate Kivo, who's on the pod last year, whatever. He clowned us. He made it he showed the clips back of us saying 3-4-0. And credit to Southampton, they look good. They deserve to win this game. They were robbed with a penalty call. I don't know how it wasn't a penalty. I think the only people who would say that's not a penalty are City fans, and even then they'd probably say it's a penalty.
But they don't exist, so.
City, though, this is they started to get rid of this Pep roulette. He stuck with his team and it was working. The one time that he goes back to that, the Pep roulette, it doesn't work. Usually when he brings in these players like a Mahrez, they'll go and perform, and then that's why he can happily interchange. But this is the week where he dropped Torres, like you said, and it didn't work for him. They couldn't break down Southampton. Southampton looked good. Ralph now is unbeaten since we're in the vest, 3 games in a row, 3 draws. City, is it a slip-up or does it show that there is weakness in that side? Because, you look at them on paper and you think, yeah, this is the team to beat, I suppose. Champions of last year. Or how do you see it, Campo?
The scariest thing for me was in that game, Jack Grealish was the only one that was trying things. He was the only one that created any kind of cross for Sterling or something. But at the end of the day, he's too short. He's not going to get on the end of them. 100 million, yes, he's going to create things. But without Torres in the middle for him at the moment, I don't see where the goals. He's their goal scorer right now. I don't see where.
Yeah, well, he didn't even come off the bench. They instead went for obviously KDB started on the bench, Mahrez, but they brought on Phil Foden, who only just come back from injury midweek. And he looked good midweek, and he's a great player. But Torres is your informed man right now. Him and Jesus have this partnership. Why not bring him on at 60th minute if you can't break him down? And then see what happens then, because Torres he's got a goal in him right now. Look, at the very end of the game, they could have won it. Sterling scored, was offside, correct decision. But I don't know, City, it's a slip-up. It's the same as the Spurs game first week of the season. It's points you probably can't afford to drop. And this point could be costly. But look, Southampton, full credit to them, absolutely. They've looked good now for a few weeks. And if they can start to score a few goals, they'll be tough to break down as well. And they could start picking up some good results like Brentford. All right, Morty, Liverpool 3-0 over Palace. There was no Christian Ball this week, unfortunately. What were your thoughts on the game?
We looked really good. I think, Palace, they tried. They came with the confidence the first bit. We sort of played it off. Alisson made a great save at the start of the game. We looked under the pump that first 5-minute period, and then Liverpool kind of just kicked into gear from then on and pretty much put it away. I mean, we were trying to get Mane that goal, pretty much get his nine in a row against them, and after that sort of happened, then they kind of just got a bit more free flowing, and they're just playing the ball around. I mean, Jota put it way over the bar from 2 meters or whatever it was. Kaita scored an absolute banger, but again, we've seen him do that once a year, and he's done it once a year. So we'll wait till next year for the next one. But I think it's a class performance from him. I mean, we put some rotation forward again. Robbo and Trent back. And Milner had a fucking great game. Sorry, the veteran all-rounder puts it on, and the only downside of this game is now Thiago copping an injury too. So just hope it's not another one, because we don't have many left.
Look,
already.
I think the stats obviously heavily favour Liverpool. 25 shots, 10 on target to Palace's 2 on target. Palace had a couple decent chances. At 1-0, they could have hit back. Edouard off the bench could have equalised. He probably fluffed his lines a little bit, considering he came on last week and did the exact opposite. So I think in a way he's got a bit lucky there, but the way the game went on, you were always going to kill them off if they didn't take their chances, and you got your vital 3 points. Campo, what do you think? Did Palace deserve something in this game? Or
they didn't deserve anything, but because you have to take your chances against these big clubs. That cross where Eduardo, he has to header it. He can't. It's coming too fast at him. He's not going to control that. And it cost him at the end. These are the chances. Benteke, I think, would have a head on that. Probably doesn't go in, but, he's I don't know. He's not going to verse Tottenham every day, Eduardo. So it's just, I think it's a crash back to reality from him and Crystal Palace fans.
Tony, agreed?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like Campo said, you can't expect anything. They probably did, I guess you could say, deserve maybe a goal, but besides that, Liverpool were too good. They put it away, and they did what they had to do. No Gale Force wins this week.
Another 3-0 result here, courtesy of Villa over Everton. Crazy. Everton with one of the worst lineups I've seen in a little while. They've looked good this season, then they go and produce that. Got absolutely mauled off the park by Villa. Matty Cash on the score sheet. Thoughts on the game again, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a result that I expected to see. Obviously, like you already mentioned, the lineup was a bit, how you going? They do have players out, but they need to be putting up a better performance than that. Yes, Villa had, I'd argue, probably a close to even team sheet if you looked at who was on the team sheet. But, I mean, with a manager like Everton have, you need to be putting up better performances than that week in, week out.
I think this is the Villa that we were expecting at the beginning of the season to straight away kick off. So now they're starting to pick up a few points. They've looked okay. Morty, slip up for Everton here, or like, are you giving Villa more credit?
No, look, Villa played well. I mean, they've made the 5 at the back work somehow this time. They've shown it hasn't worked so far. So I don't think they should get too comfortable though, because they're not going to play against that strike force every week. It wasn't the greatest, and Townsend showed last week that he's had his game of the year and he's back to that. So yeah, I think Everton without their strike force. I mean, if Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin played this game, I think it probably a lot closer up top. But yeah, can't play what's in front of us. So well done, Villa.
Campo, you agree with that?
I think Leon Bailey has already wiped out his flop of the season prediction from you guys. And Matty Cash with an absolute thunderbolt. He is turning out to be a really tidy right back for Villa. I was a bit gutted when he signed for them from Nottingham Forest, because I was watching him at Forest thinking, God, he's good. He's going to he'll do bits in the Premier League, and I think he's proving me right that he is doing bits, but time will tell. A good win for Villa.
Apparently, Poland have approached Matty Cash to represent them, because I think his mum's Polish or something, and he's not going to get in the right back position at England. So I think that's a good move for him, get to play with Lewandowski. We couldn't ask for much more than that. All right, Brighton taking on Leicester. I think, did we all say Leicester this game?
I said Brighton.
Oh, there you go. You got this one right. 2-1. Shock, or obviously you predicted it. So what were your thoughts on the game?
I think Brighton played their start to the season has been incredible from their standards, and with that momentum, they carried it on. They're playing the Brighton football that Graham Potter has them playing, same as last year. The only difference this year is that they're taking the chances they create. That guy Welbeck is finally turning up again for the first time since last year, and I think Morpay scored the opener.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, good. All around good performance from Brighton. Good things coming their way, I think.
Well, they're sitting fourth now, 1 point behind a few of the league leaders after 5 games. And look, I think, like I definitely said, I won't give them heaps of credit because the games they have played, they maybe not should win, but they points they can pick up. So they haven't really faced a challenge yet. But look, this is probably the toughest challenge so far. Leicester coming to their home ground, and they made business of them. They deserve the win. Leicester, look, Vardy on the score sheet again, but it's 3 points for Brighton, and their start of the season is phenomenal. And again, like you said, they're playing football that Potter wants them to play, and they could have a good season this year. They could be a West Ham possibly of last season. What do you think of that?
Yeah, look, obviously they played out of the skin this game. They have lost to Everton, so I'm not going to write off from the fact that they still could struggle a bit more against some of the other clubs up there. But again, Leicester on their day challenge these big clubs, so putting it past them is no easy win. So credit to them. If they keep playing the way they're doing, they should go far. But as long as they don't fall into their trap of just going, we've got our wins now, we're just going to get our draws or get whatever they're on the board, so they're just holding on. So as long as they keep going the way they go and don't falter it like a loss to City or Liverpool or anything like that, they should be good and on the up.
Right, well, the next game, we did a post-match reaction to it. It was West Ham 1, United 2. Myself and Tony were joined by Juzzy. However, I want to get your guys' opinions on the game. Morty, what were your thoughts on this one? Pretty crazy?
Look, I'll be honest, I thought United probably doing a bit more than what they did, but credit to West Ham, they stuck strong. Ronaldo is always scoring, let's be real. I think he'll pretty much score a goal a game this season against most clubs, and can't fault him for doing that. However, I mean, I don't know if you agree with this or not, Tony, but I feel like I watched that for the first half, but United, from the first few weeks to when Ronaldo's come in, they're just trying to feed Ronaldo, and there's nothing wrong with that. He'll score, but they weren't creating anything other than going around that, and I think they might falter a bit if they keep doing that. Like the first few weeks, they were playing left, right, centre, wherever it needed to go, it went, but they've just kind of gone more direct to Ronaldo up top at the moment.
Yeah, and I think Juzzy obviously made a quick point on that last night. With the players we're playing with, Pogba and who did we start, Greenwood, who both want to play centrally, we're becoming a lot more narrow. So that option is there's no one out wide. Let's just whip it into the box and hope that Ronaldo gets on to the end of it. I think Rashford's back in training. When he gets back, that probably changes with him giving the width. But yeah, I agree. I agree with you 100% on that one.
Campo, what are your thoughts on the game?
Ronaldo is turning out to be the ultimate poacher in the Premier League at the moment. But for some, you saw at the World Cup, you don't bring players on that are cold to take penalties. Oh, the Euros, not the World Cup. And again, I get it. He's your captain, Mark Noble, doesn't miss penalties. But you put someone who's played the whole game, who's warm, who's ready for the challenge, not some bozo that hasn't warmed up yet. Just stupid on West Ham's part. They had a chance and they bottled it.
Yeah, I have to say, I love the chance behind the goals. I don't know if you boys saw it on Twitter. The chance going around, he never misses. And then it got saved 2 seconds later, so that was a bit of a laugh.
Well, it's funny because he doesn't usually miss, and De Gea doesn't usually save penalties. So it's literally the ultimate
opposites.
Paradox.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, like you said, and I've said it as well, you don't bring players on just for penalties. It's just a curse in a way. Until I see someone break that curse, then I'm going to keep believing that. But yeah, look, I think the way the game went, United deserved the win. There's two Stonewall penalties, I think, for United on Ronaldo. And like you said, Campo, a little earlier, I think refs are being more harsh because I think maybe they're starting to think that these players are trying to buy the refs a bit, and they've got a reputation now that they go down easy. Ronaldo around the world has always had a bit of a reputation that he goes down easy. So maybe refs are being a little harsher on him. But then again, that's what VAR is for. Fair enough if the ref doesn't pick it up first off, but then the VAR needs to then go and look at it and think that's a Stonewall penalty. Go and give that. So this game could have been put to bed long before. So I think West Ham would have been even lucky to get a point from this game at the very end, of course. Maybe throughout the game, they had good chances, but...
I mean, I'd like to get the thoughts on the two boys, obviously. There's the one clear one with Ronaldo, but then there was also the West Ham penalty. So just quickly, boys, if you have a thought on those two, if you saw them, what you thought, obviously starting with the West Ham and then going into that Ronaldo one.
I haven't seen the West Ham, but I saw the Ronaldo one, and yeah, I'll probably give it to you. Should have been a pen.
If you're giving one a penalty, you're giving the other one. Yeah. So the problem is that one wasn't and one was. That's the issue.
Pretty much summed it up. Well, yeah, if you haven't watched the post-match reaction to that game, go ahead and watch that. A bit more real, a bit more less processed. We haven't had time to. Let's just straight raw into it. But we're going to get into the final game of the round. It was myself versus Campo. We did a combined exercise before the game. 3-0 Chelsea. Quickly, let's start off. Sorry. You told me, no Son, no this player. You were weak. And then the lineups come out, and you've got your strongest lineup out there. And I thought, this could actually be a worry now. Whenever I see Son, because I think he is a dangerous player and he's probably your best player, I was scared. He does like a goal against Chelsea. But yeah, look, the first 5, 10, 15 minutes, all over it. Could have been 1, 2, 3 goals up. And then the rest is, I'll let you get into it.
I think first half, we had the better of the chances. We were the more aggressive team. You were more of a counter-attacking team. And then, I feel like Mason Mount and Kai Havertz were a handbrake for your wing-backs. So Tuchel has changed that in second half, brought on Kante. and it has absolutely flipped the script. I thought that was more of a defensive move, but in hindsight, it was a genius move. And Eric Dyer, even though, an unlucky own goal, he handled Lukaku very well that game. He got tight when he had to. He let him loose when he had to. He really took him out of the game, in my opinion. But again, they just couldn't nullify Alonso on the left and Aspi on the right. Just comical. Again, freaking Dele Alli on the freaking corner. Not worried about the ball, worried about where Thiago Silva is going to go and trying to block him. You don't do that. It's criminal, and he single-handedly cost us that game. We were in the fight until, for some reason, I asked you off camera why you're not putting Thiago Silva in the combined 11. And he's shown why he should have been in that one. He was incredible. And just Nuno playing Harry Kane out wide for some reason. I don't get it. I don't know what he's doing. It's not Wolves, it's Tottenham. You can't come to this club and expect to play like Wolves. We have to attack. We have to be aggressive.
Put him in the bin. Put him in the bin, Campo.
Look, we were talking throughout the game, obviously in the group chats. Thiago Silva was by far the best player on pitch. He saved us multiple times. He was instrumental. Then he goes up the other end and scores. It's an absolute what leaders do. When the game needs a goal, he goes and scores. You should have been up, but then that second half starts, and you said it straight away. Tuchel's just done an absolute masterclass at halftime. Kante on for Mount, it's a weird one, but yeah, it somehow works offensively. It allows Alonso to go and do what he does best, and it's just attack. Whenever he plays Spurs, he's like a bloody prime Roberto Carlos. It's his favourite fixture. And it just allows him the chance to get forward and not have to worry because he just knows Kante's behind him. And then the longer it went on, you just couldn't get into the game. Our team talk compared to yours there's a vast difference. Tuchel went out to win that game at halftime, and you guys I don't know what he said, but he would have just, like you said, more of the same. Just keep doing what you're doing, but it didn't work. There's only one team at halftime that wanted to win this game. And look, we may just pay for it. 3-0 probably wasn't a fair reflection of the game. But we've said it in other games, if you don't take your chances, the other team will make you pay. It's the same as the Palace-Liverpool game. Tony, what were your thoughts on the game?
I mean, obviously, I was on such a high after the United game. I was like, there's no way I'm going to bed. I'm going to watch the Chelsea-Tottenham game. And at halftime, honestly, I went, stuff this, I'm going to bed. Like we said, Tottenham were probably unlucky not to score in that first half. I think there was a stat that the commentator said around the 36th minute that Lukaku had the least amount of touches out of everyone on the pitch. I went to bed expecting to wake up to a draw, a 1-0 win either way. And then I woke up to 3-0 and I was like, whoa, what happened to Tottenham? And like you guys said, Kante is one of those players where you put him in that pivot position and everything else just seems to gel. You put him there, he's the cover for the fullbacks. You put him there, the midfielders can go more forward. And in the end, that's what Chelsea's strengths are going forward. Defensively, they're strong, but going forward, they have attacking power with Kante sitting there. And that's what you get the 3-0 result, you take it, and you move on to next week.
I think you mentioned that Lukaku's 4 touches there, and Campo said that that Dyer, I keep calling him bloody Van Dyer, you got that stuck in my head. You get that out of my head again. But Eric Dyer, he did make good work of Lukaku. However, I do think whenever Lukaku was involved, maybe that first half, that second half though, he did well to hold him up. Nobody's going to push Lukaku off the ball. And I think Lukaku probably could have had an assist for Kovacic at the end there, probably for Timo Werner as well. So then straight away, that's 2 assists that he could have had. But look, overall,
he had the chance for Mount in the first half too, Aaron, when they both went through. And
I think that was more Mount's fault than it was Lukaku's. Yeah. I think that should be going to Lukaku for a finish rather than him having to cut it back. But look, yeah, Mount didn't have a great game. So yeah, look, Eric Dyer did do well defensively, but then you got to think if Lukaku's not on, there's a reason why we don't struggle because there's other players who will come on. Timo Werner come on 65th minute, and it shows that there's a promise there that they could partner each other, that they look good together. And I think there's other games he's only got 5 minutes, 10 minutes off the bench, and it's not enough time for him to work his speed, his pace off the bench. And yeah, he came on and got his assist at the end for Rudiger. So look, as I said, 3-0 harsh result, but it's a good win for us. It's probably a poor result for you guys. Morty, how did you see the game?
Yeah, look, it's to be expected from Tottenham. I mean, we've sat here for 2 seasons now, and Tottenham just seem to pull the same things out. They crumble, they fall apart, they win against City, and they just don't do anything else the rest of the season. Like, we're talking about a club that was the Champions League finalist 2 seasons ago, and now they're
goes like this: top of the league. After Campo says it.
I'm allowed to say once a year, right?
It's just cursed every time you do.
But like, yes, they were in the game for half a game, but at the end of the day, they could play 90 minutes, and Chelsea played the 90 minutes, and they put 3 past them. And let's not forget the fact that Tottenham also, what was it, a draw or a loss? What was it, the midweek against whatever scrub league it's in? And you didn't play a weak lineup in that either. Like, I don't know. I don't know where it is. I don't know what way forward you've got going for Tottenham when your best striker is getting shopped around. You're trying to hold him onto man, and then performances like this come out, and I don't know. You might know different.
Speaking of that striker, it's now 5 games played. He hasn't scored a single goal.
Hasn't played. I'll give him that.
4, 3. Campo, thoughts on that? Is he going to come good? Like, does he want to? Like, he doesn't want to be there per se, but is he going to start firing? Because he's a goal scorer.
He will. He'll always start firing, but it's just the fact that he didn't get his move, and he's when at the end of the day, City screwed him over. He just has to bite his tongue now and just get on with be a freaking athlete.
Did Spurs not screw him over though? Not getting rid of him?
Because City only put in one. City only put in one proposal, one bid. That's all they did. If you really wanted him, 80 million doesn't buy his left leg.
They offered 80 and like 3 players.
No, they offered 80. That was it.
But for City, that's brilliant. They put in this. They probably rattled one of the best strikers in the Premier League. For City, 80 million. You know what? If he keeps going like this, next year is only going to be worth 80 to 100 million, and they've done their job. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but City could also have to pay 120 of the position they're in 5th, 6th.
Nah, City will come good.
I don't know about that one.
But Harry Kane will come good, is what you're saying, Campo?
Yeah, he'll end up scoring. He'll score 1 goal. You've seen it. He starts slow in most seasons anyway.
Last season he didn't.
No, usually it takes him. Remember, he went for like 5 years without scoring in the first month. Once he finds his first goal, he'll score 30 after that anyway.
No, there you go. That's the Campo prediction. We're going to wrap it up. That's all we got time for this week. Massive games coming up. We've got the North London derby. We'll obviously have Campo's prediction for that one. That's going to be a good one. Chelsea City, big game as well. But yeah, we're going to leave it there for now, and we'll see you again next week.
Peace.